Sir, please come right up here to be sworn.
Raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Please walk right around and have a seat. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Could you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
My name is Gus Cersei.
And Gus, what is it that you do for a living?
Many things, but the thing mostly is Legal Shield, or prepaid legal in the previous name.
Okay. And just for clarification, when did prepaid legal become Legal Shield?
July 1st, about 2 years ago.
Okay. And if you could, what is your position within the company? Is there a label for it?
Yeah, I'm what's called a $100,000 ring earner, which means I have this little ring. It means I make over $100,000 a year, whether I get out of bed or not, and I'm executive director.
Okay, executive director. Could you describe for me or educate us all perhaps on the hierarchy of prepaid legal or Legal Shield, how that works in terms of where an executive director fits in and who's
Sure.
above him and who's below him? If you could explain that to the jury.
Legal Shield is a multi-level network marketing company that provides a legal insurance product and an identity theft product. And it has about a little over 400,000 associates. Out of those 400,000 associates, the goal is to attain a level such as myself or some of the other people in the company. And the main level that people want to get to is something called an executive director. Out of the 400,000 people in the company, there are approximately 1,500 executive directors. And then there's various levels of executive director from there up. The other thing that people want to attain is the $100,000 ring, because you could be an executive director but still not making a lot of money. But if you have the ring, it signifies that you've made a documented $100,000 in a 12-month period. So to be a ring earner and an executive director is a big thing. To be an executive director is a very big thing in the company.
Okay. It's symbolized in part by the ring, but let me ask you this. You said there's various levels of executive director.
Mm-hmm.
Could you describe those for us?
Well, there's like bronze. There's executive director. That means you're an executive director. There's bronze. That means you've helped one other person become an executive director. There's silver, which is where I kind of fall. That means you've helped 2 people at least become executive director. Gold, you've helped 3 people become executive director. Platinum, 4, and then platinum 2, 3, and then it just keeps going up to diamond, I think, which is 13 or 14 people executive director directly under you.
Okay. And you said you are at the silver level. You've made 2 people executive directors, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
directly underneath me. I've actually created a lot of executive directors, but yes.
Okay. Let me ask then, apart from what does Legal Shield or prepaid legal, what do they sell to the customer?
The customer would be the average American public. The premise is this: the average person checks their wallet before they check their rights, and the wallet says they don't have any. We fix that. We give the average person the ability to have access to proper legal service, legal advice, and identity theft monitoring and restoration services for about $1.19 a day. Okay. It's a great deal.
So the associates market the insurance to new customers, correct?
Friends, businesses, group benefits, employee benefits, all kinds of things, yes.
Okay. And then do they then attempt to get other people to sell the insurance as also to become associates so they can build their business? Is that how
Some
that
do,
works?
and
Okay.
some don't. Most people who want to build a large organization think of it like an insurance company. And if you can sell insurance, and you might be really good at selling insurance, and there are people in our company that's all they do, or you want to be an insurance broker. So you get other people to work for you, or like a real estate agent with a real estate broker with real estate agents. It's that kind of thing.
Okay. So you are within the structure then financially incentivized to get more people selling insurance for you. That's how you become executive director.
Yeah, that's
correct?
the way to do it, is to build a team of people So you're making a little bit off of each person.
Okay. And so if, you said a little bit, making a little bit off each person, so if you sell insurance to John, okay, and John turns around and sells it to Sally, you make money off the insurance. You, as the person who brought John into the company, makes money off the insurance John sold to Sally. Is that?
In a quick summary, yes. If I sold a $35.95 service, which is what it costs, $35.95 a month, I make anywhere from $34 to $252, depending upon what level I'm at in the company. As an executive director, I make $252 for collecting $35.95. If I bring John into the business and John goes out and sells something for someone, he makes anywhere from $34 to $252, and I make anywhere from $34 to $182 because I found John.
So if I understand you correctly and the system correctly, you make the most money as not only if you get John to buy insurance and sell it to, and then eventually sell to Sally. If Sally sells to Fred, then you're making more money because the chain is growing, as it were.
That is correct.
Okay. And that's really ultimately how one becomes executive director. They get higher pay, and then they eventually get to don a ring at the meetings, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, in terms of what you do for prepaid legal, I want to clarify, is it just a matter of you sell the insurance, or do you do other things within the company?
Well, once you're hitting the level of executive director, there's a book that they publish called Profiles of Success. And it's one thing to be an executive director. It's the next thing to be an executive director in Profiles of Success. Because you have to hit executive director. To be an executive director in Legal Shield, you have to qualify every month to do that. You don't just hit it and you're there. You have to qualify every single month. So once you've done it 8 months in a row, there's a book that's published with all the stars in the company, if you will. And it starts off with the ring earners. Like I said, out of 400 and some thousand people in the company, there's about 1,500 executive directors and about 250 ring earners. So the book will start with the ring earners, and then it flips through to the executive directors at the back.
Okay.
That are consistently producing.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you do anything to help market the company or promote the company at meetings or anything of that nature?
Yes. I get flown around the country to speak at meetings because ring earners and executive directors are, that's what everyone wants to attain. So they take us and they send us places to speak at meetings to inspire other people. Because even though it's the same message, sometimes you hear it from a different person, suddenly it sinks in and goes, oh yeah, I can do that. Because it's the kind of thing that, it's a really good thing that anybody can do, but a lot of people just don't succeed because they don't know how to succeed.
And so you say you speak at many different conventions or events, I don't know what they're called.
Business briefings, conventions, super Saturdays, there's different terms. There's a weekly meeting. Every week there's a weekly meeting everywhere in the United States. There's hundreds of them. Once a month they have something called a Super Saturday that in each marketplace all the meetings come together for one day. They have the national convention. They'll even have regional events.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the national convention. And I'll give you a minute to pour some water. Is that national convention held in the same place every year, or?
Back then there were two. They used to hold one in Oklahoma, which they still do that one, and then they would hold one in either Dallas or Las Vegas.
Okay. And
every 6 months.
Tell us, if you will, how those conventions are set up. Is there various meetings, some of these inspirational talks? Tell us how that works.
Before the main 2 days of the event, there's a lot of classes, training classes. For example, truck drivers. There's a great program for truck drivers, but you have to be CDLP certified, commercial driver's license certified to be able to sell that program. Or there's group benefits, and you have to be certified. So there's classes like that.
Okay.
Then the night before the event starts, because it's usually Friday, Saturday, so the night before Thursday night, they have what's called the Executive Director Banquet. And the Executive Director Banquet is kind of like, to the average person, be like the Super Bowl. To get to go to the Executive Director Banquet is the thing. And if you're an executive director, you get to bring one person with you, and that person kind of just won the lottery ticket, if you will.
Okay, describe well, let me ask you this before we start talking, go back to the banquets. These conventions, are they limited to people that have been working for the company a certain amount of period of time? Are they open to people that are just maybe interested in the business, that sort of thing?
The convention is open to the people that are in the business.
Okay.
I'm sure there are people who aren't in the business that could come, but it's tailored towards people who are in the business, whether you're an associate or junior associate and just starting, or a diamond,
Okay.
one of the highest levels in the company.
So is it both a recruiting and motivational mission, or is it just strictly motivational for?
It's more of it's more geared for the associates that are already in. It's to help keep them in the game, help build their belief, help build their thickness of skin, if you will. I mean, a lot of people tell you no. I mean, in my personal case, to get the ring, 5,784 people told me no. And a lot of people get 2 no's and quit.
Okay.
So it's to help keep people in the game, to help keep people inspired. And they see people go across stage. They bring people on the stage from all walks of life, all races, all creeds, all financial beginnings that have achieved success.
Okay.
And it's very good. It's very heartwarming to see all of that.
Okay. Can you tell us, now going back to what you said about the executive director's banquet and somebody winning a lottery ticket to get in there or to be in there, could you just kind of tell us what goes on at that and at this banquet, how the directors are treated or their speeches? Could you just kind of describe that for us?
Sure. It's a formal attire evening, tuxedo, formal gowns for women, so women love it because they get to get dressed up, and the men have to get dressed up, so that works out real well for the women. Only the executive directors who have qualified in the last 3 months are allowed to go, so there's around 1,200 executive directors, each with a guest.
Okay.
There's people in that room that make anywhere from $100,000 a year to $4 million a year. And the royalty of the company, if you will. And so to be able to be at that banquet, you actually have the ability to walk up, shake their hand, talk to them, take a picture with them. The dinner is really good. And then the speeches that night are usually the newest $100,000 ring earners. So if you've got the $100,000 ring, this is your first opportunity to speak. And they usually have you speak there, and then they have you speak again at the convention in front of the entire congregation, if you will, the next day.
Okay. You mentioned, people at this banquet making between $100,000 and $4 million. It sounds to me like is that advertised? I mean, is it common knowledge? Is it in these publications that you've talked about? Person X made $250,000, or is that announced at the banquet? How does that work?
In the book that's published, it shows whether you're a $1 million ring earner, or a $500,000 ring earner, or a $250,000 ring earner, or a $100,000 ring earner, an executive director. And I kind of misstated, people at that banquet could be executive directors, and they make roughly $60,000 to $70,000 a year. So it's 60 to 70 on up. About $5,000 a month minimum if you're an executive director.
Okay.
Roughly.
But that's known, at least the minimum income of those individuals are known and is bantied about. Okay. You mentioned that a person who was not executive director who got invited to that banquet, I think your word was they won the lottery or got a lottery ticket.
Yes.
Could you explain to us what you mean by that?
Well, if you're not an executive director and you're really into the whole Legal Shield family, the whole concept of what's going on, and you know who all these people are, and suddenly you get invited to go. I mean, it'd be kind of like if you were working at a presidential election and your candidate won and you got invited to the White House for the inauguration and a special banquet. It would be that kind of thing. So it's a very big deal.
Okay. let's talk a little bit more about why you're here and how you got involved in this. Do you know that young lady sitting there?
Yes.
In a light blue shirt?
Yes.
Who is she?
Jodi
And do you know her last name?
Arias.
Arias. Have you ever heard pronounced any other way other than Arias?
No.
Okay. How did you come to know Jodi Arias?
Well, that would kind of explain a little bit about how I got into this whole thing.
Okay.
I'm a bit of an anomaly in the organization.
Sustained.
Can we approach her?
You may.
Mr. Cersei, again, let me ask you if you could be so kind as to describe for us how you came to become acquainted with Jodi Arias.
She came, I had gone to speak in Arizona at one of the business briefings, and after the business briefing, they have kind of like what's called an after event, where they take the guest speaker, in this case me, and they take them out to dinner, and so all the associates of the meeting can kind of get to meet the guest speaker for that night. And she was at that meeting.
Okay, and kind of describe for me this meeting. I mean, you mentioned taking pictures and that. Is that what we're talking about, a kind of a social gathering, or is this like another event where the heads of the company, so to speak, are treated with like royalty, as you described?
No, this is an after event, after the business briefing, which is the formal press, which is where if someone wanted to learn about what we do, you would invite a guest, you'd go to the briefing, a speaker will come in, do a presentation for everyone, and then afterwards, they take the speaker out to dinner, and anyone who wants to come, guest or associate, is welcome to come. And it's kind of a casual social meeting at that point, and then people take pictures, they have you sign their books and things like that. And I met her at that point.
Okay. And do you remember when that was?
Not precisely.
Okay. Do you remember a year, a particular convention?
It was like 2007, 2008, somewhere in that range.
And you don't remember what meeting it was at or what convention
I've
it
done
might have been at?
hundreds of them.
Okay. After meeting Jodi at this initial event, did your relationship with her continue?
Yeah, she had asked me to help her. And the reason, because I became an executive director in 90 days. It usually takes people a year to 2 years to hit that level. So a lot of people, not just Jodi, ask me for help so they can get past whatever level they're at, because I seem to have a knack for helping people do that.
Okay, so it wasn't uncommon for you to receive a request like that for help?
No,
Okay.
I have lots of them.
And just so we're clear, what do you mean by helping people get past their level? I mean, are you talking about sales techniques, marketing technique? Is that what we're talking about, or?
Well, we all have the same product at the same price with the same marketing tools, so it's really not about that. It's about what's in people's heads. So I need to find out what's making them not succeed, because the company has a very simple process, and if you follow the process and you do what we ask you to do, you'll probably succeed if you do it right. So there's their emotions involved. There's like some people, they're afraid to talk to their family because they're embarrassed, or they're shy, or you know, they don't quite believe in the product, that they got involved, or you need to find out what the reasoning is. So
Okay.
you need to get into their head, find out what's going on with them, and then what I usually do is set up some kind of accountability where they will say, all right, I want you to call me once a week or twice a week, depending upon the situation. Let me know what you're doing or how many people you've shown the service to that week, or something that kind of forces them into a action, because it's, you know, it's kind of like Weight Watchers. If you got to show up every week to somebody, you're going to be more likely to do something than if you are completely on your own.
Okay. And is this the type of relationship you began to develop with Jodi Arias?
That's correct.
Okay. Can you speak to how much contact you had with Miss Arias over the ensuing months? Was it weekly? You talked about checking in monthly. Do you know?
Probably at minimum of once a week, we would touch base with each other.
Okay. Was it strictly business, or did you ever become friends?
Well, I'm usually friends with most of the people I deal with. I tend to work on a personal level as opposed to a business level, so yes.
Okay, so it wasn't just a matter of discussing business. You became friends. That's how you tend to do things.
Yeah, because you get to know people. That's how you're going to get to know them. If it's strictly business, you don't really get to know what's going on with them.
Okay. So over those months, you got to know Miss Arias fairly well. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. During your interactions with Miss, and I want to clarify before we go any further, your relationship with Miss Arias, was that strictly platonic, or was there any romantic or sexual relationship between the two of you?
No, just platonic.
Okay.
She had a boyfriend.
Okay. And who was that boyfriend?
Travis.
Okay.
Alexander.
And you knew Travis as her boyfriend. To your knowledge, did a lot of people know about that?
Objection, lack of foundation, no evidence.
I said to his knowledge.
Yes, you may answer yes or no. Overruled.
To my knowledge, I don't know how many people knew. That wasn't something I was concerned about. I knew, but it wasn't something I didn't conduct a survey.
In the time of your relationship with her, did you ever know her to dress in a way that you thought was over-sexual or inappropriate?
Objection, relevance.
Approach. Proceed.
Let me ask you, Mr. Cersei, during the course of your relationship with Miss Arias, I know you talked about meeting her at a convention and her asking for your help. And I know you talked a lot about a fair amount of phone calls that you had, weekly phone calls. How many other times did you physically see her? Were you in contact with her, be it at meetings, be it on a personal level, anything of that nature? Do you have any idea?
Well, I'd see her at the national convention, see her at the after event, see her at the regional event. So maybe 4 or 5, 6 times. not counting time she met with me personally.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Not counting the time she met with me personally.
Okay. And do you have any idea about how many times she met with you personally over the year or so that you knew her?
I mean, just probably twice.
Okay. As it relates to all those meetings, both personal and professional, did you see her ever dress in a inappropriate manner?
No, she was always dressed very feminine, but she was very conservative.
Goes beyond the scope of the question, to answer that question.
Overall, the answer will stand.
And what was that? So describe that again for us, please.
I said she was always dressed very feminine, but very conservative. Always long sleeves, high necks, long dresses or slacks, nothing provocative in any way. Very, very professional.
Okay, and that was both in your personal interaction and professional interaction with her at these meetings, right?
Yeah, even personally, she'd always wear like jeans and long turtleneck kind of sweater thing.
Was, going back to these meetings you've had with her, was she ever sexually inappropriate in her conduct?
No. I watch for those kinds of things because some women I help.
Objection, non-responsive, these are.
Sustained.
Describe for us how you can come to that conclusion.
Because I help various people, men and women, and how they dress, how they act, all affects things. You know, some women, they dress too provocative and men don't take them serious. They want to date them rather than join them.
Okay.
And so they need to tone it down, or some, dress too wild, or it's even as subtle as their cell phone. When someone calls their cell phone, the message on it is some kind of weird music or something, which is inappropriate for a professional business person if someone's calling you. So I take all of the factors into consideration.
Objection, non-responsive.
Sustained.
Let me ask it this way then. These are factors you take a look at when you're mentoring both men and women in the business, and with.
Correct.
Okay. And as it relates to the conduct of a female that you might be mentoring, you never found, Miss Arias, you never needed to direct her in any way regarding being overly flirtatious or her phone or anything of that nature. All very professional, right?
Objection, legal.
Sustained.
Did you observe her behavior to be professional?
Yes.
Could you describe for us, and you mentioned a couple of the personal interactions you had with her, not at the business briefings. Could you describe, say, for example, the first occasion?
I was in Las Vegas speaking at the local business briefing. It wasn't the convention, it was the local business briefing. And she had called me, and she was very upset. Her and Travis had an argument.
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
When she called you, what was her demeanor?
She was very upset.
Okay. Did you have an understanding of why?
Yes.
And what was that understanding?
Objection, hearsay.
Approach.
When you received this phone call from Miss Arias and she was upset, to your knowledge, where did she live at that point in time?
She was in Arizona.
And to your knowledge, was she intending to move elsewhere?
Objection, speculation, hearsay.
You may answer only yes or no.
Restate the question, please.
To your knowledge, was she moving away out of Mesa, Arizona?
Yes.
And she described for you why.
Yes.
Do you remember month and year of the time that this took place?
I can't remember exactly this long down the road.
Okay, you mentioned that you were in Vegas in your
Yes.
motorhome, right?
Correct.
And Miss Arias came to stay with you?
Yes,
that-
I invited her. She said she needed to get
Objection,
away.
hearsay.
Sustained.
She came to stay with you on her way out of Mesa, right?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled. You may answer yes or no.
Yes.
And she spent some time with you at your motorhome, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And was this a matter of hours, a matter of days? Can you describe that for us?
About 2 days. 2 days, 1 night.
Okay. And during those 2 days and 1 night, did she ever make any sexual advances upon you?
No.
Okay. To your knowledge, during those few days, did she ever speak to Travis Alexander?
Objection, lack of foundation, hearsay.
Overruled. You may answer yes or no.
Yes.
Was Mr. Alexander, did Mr. Alexander, to your knowledge, ever come to the motorhome?
No.
Objection, speculation, when? And lack of foundation.
Sustained.
To your knowledge, while Miss Arias was there at your motorhome, spending these 2 days and 1 night with you, did Mr. Alexander arrive at your motorhome? Was he there?
No.
To your knowledge, did she receive any phone calls from Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
How were you aware that Mr. Alexander was calling her?
The motorhome is very large, but it's long as opposed to wide. So I was sitting on one couch, she was sitting on the other. We'd been talking about this far away between me and this gentleman here. The phone rang. And if you're in a real quiet room, when someone's that close, you can hear what the other side is saying. So she answered the phone. She said, he goes, hi.
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
May we approach?
You may.
During this phone call we were speaking about, did Miss Arias identify who she was speaking to?
Yes,
And whom was that?
Travis.
Travis Alexander?
Travis Alexander.
Okay. Could you describe for us, you talked about being in this small motor home, so could you describe for us her demeanor after the phone call?
Well, once it got heated, she excused herself, stepped outside. She talked to him for about a half an hour outside, and when she came back in, she was shaking and crying.
Okay. Had you seen her act like that before in any of your prior interactions with her?
No.
Did you ever see Miss Arias get mad at Travis?
No.
You mentioned you saw Miss Arias a second time after this time you met in Las Vegas. What was that? When was that? Excuse
She
me.
was moving to Northern California, and she had had her phone stolen. So I helped her get a phone, so she met me to get the phone.
Okay. And how long was that interaction?
10 minutes, not very long. We just met, said hello, gave her the phone. She was on her way.
Okay. Moment, Your Honor. Thank you, Mr. Cersei. That's all the questions I have for right now.
Cross-examination.
So with regard to this prepaid legal outfit that you work with, I think the term that you used was that it's multi-level marketing business, right?
Yes?
And it appears from the way that you described it is that if somebody signs somebody else up, and they're somebody that you signed up, then you benefit, correct?
Say that one more time?
You sign somebody up, for example,
Yes?
and then they sign somebody up. It seems that you profit from that signing up of the last person, don't you?
You profit from all the people.
So the answer is yes, you do profit, right?
Yes.
And it appears in the way that you describe all of this that there are a very few number of people, whatever designation you may give them, directors, give them rings, whatever, that are at the very top. There's some sort of elite people at the very top, right?
Yes.
And those people are profiting from what everybody else is doing down here, right?
As they profit themselves.
But the answer is yes, these people up here profit by whatever is going on down here, right?
Yes.
And that's how the money is made, right?
Yes.
That's how one reaches the $100,000 club, right?
Yes.
By being at the top of the pyramid, those are the people that are really making the money, right?
It's not a pyramid.
I didn't say it was a pyramid. I
You
said
just
at the
did.
top, at the top of the pyramid.
That implies a pyramid in my logic.
So is that a yes or a no, or do you not want to answer?
Not as stated.
So you don't want to answer that question, indicating that the people that are at the top of what appears to be a pyramid, those people are the ones that are making the money.
Objection, argumentative.
Overruled.
It's not a pyramid, so to say it is would be wrong. It is multi-level, that I will agree with,
Well, sir, so your answer is you won't answer that question, right? As proposed.
as stated.
Okay. Well, then let's use a triangle, right? It's not call it a pyramid, let's call it a triangle. The people at the very top of the triangle, those are the people that are the directors, those are the people that have the rings, those are the people that go to the executive ball, right?
It's more like a circle if you want to get into geometry.
Sir, that's not my question to you, is it? I'm asking you who's making the money, aren't I?
The people who work the hardest.
Sustained.
Who's making the money?
The people who
that
work
are
the-
at the top, or the people that are down here that they signed up?
Sir, you are wrong. There are people at the top that don't have anybody
Objection,
underneath them.
non-responsive. Go ahead.
There are people in this company making hundreds of thousands of dollars that don't have anyone underneath them. They go out and sell it as an employee benefit. You sign up Southwest Airlines, for example, one of our clients, you're a millionaire. You don't need to recruit anybody. So that what you're stating isn't correct, and you're asking me to state something that is not correct for your purposes, not the truth.
So the model that you previously described, the people that were in the $100,000 club, you've signed up Southwest Airlines?
I personally didn't, but
Yes
I
or
sold
no?
1,000 memberships myself.
Objection, non-responsive, Judge.
Sustained.
The question is, sir, did you sign up Southwest Airlines?
No.
Did you sign up any big company at all?
Yes.
Who did you sign up? Go ahead, tell me.
City of Norwalk, City of Garden Grove,
And that's the reason why you're in the $100,000 club?
partially. It's partially because of both. It could be a mixture. Some
And-
people recruit only. Some people sell only. Some people like myself
Sir,
do all of the
Let me
above.
ask you this question. She was making a lot of money? We're talking about the defendant?
No, she was not an executive director. She was trying to.
Right, so the answer is she wasn't making a lot of money, right?
That's correct.
She hadn't signed any big businesses, right?
That's correct.
And the reason that she was under your tutelage was that you were trying to groom her so that she would be able to present herself, so she would be of the mindset to go out and sell this, right?
That's correct.
In terms of the money that was coming in, the approximately $40 a month that was coming in for her, that money, if she had somebody above her, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
So
Not
the-
me.
So, and if she signed somebody up, the person above her would be making the money, right?
That is correct.
And the people that are above each other, those are the ones keeping out the business people, the business accounts. Those are the ones that are making the money, right?
Everyone makes money who sells or helps people make sales.
The big money, I'm talking about the 100,000. If you take out the business like Southwest, the people at the very top, and you only talk about individuals, those people have other people underneath them, and they take some of the money from the people underneath them, right?
There are people who do that, yes, and there are people who don't. But they
And-
still make money.
The majority of the people that are making money in that company are the people that have signed up a lot of people,
That
correct?
would call for speculation on my part. I don't know everyone's individual financial method.
But it could be, right?
Could be.
Sustained.
You said that you met the defendant in 2007 or 2008, right?
Probably late 2007 initially. I had gone to speak in Arizona.
So what month was that?
I don't remember.
And you became, what was the occasion again?
I was speaking at a local business briefing.
And she happened to be there, right?
That's correct.
So that was a professional setting, right?
Correct.
And you saw her 4 other times in a professional setting, right?
That's correct.
How much time did you spend with her that first time that you met her?
The first night,
Yes, sir.
well, the after event probably lasted 45 minutes to an hour. And she was one of the people that I was interacting with. So if I'm going to break it down in minutes, maybe 10 or 15 minutes the first night.
All right. And then after that, when did you meet her again?
Physically?
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
So that
Well,
you could
there's
see what
talking
she-
on the
excuse
phone
me,
also.
I have a question. So that you could see what she was wearing. Okay? The second time that you met her, what was that occasion?
At a national convention
Where?
in, I believe that one was, you know what, I honestly don't remember if it was Oklahoma or Las Vegas. It was one of the two. I don't remember the
So
timing.
you don't know where you met her the second time, right?
I know where I met her. I don't know when.
You don't know when and you don't know where, right?
I don't know when, but I know it was either Las Vegas or it was Oklahoma. That's the
Sir.
only two places that conventions are.
So you don't know where you met her then, right? If you don't, can you, as you sit here, can you tell me it was Oklahoma City? Yes or no?
Could have been.
Right. It could have also been Las Vegas, right?
Could have been. It was one of the two. I
Right.
don't know which.
So you don't know where you met her, exactly the place, right?
That doesn't mean I didn't meet her.
Is that the question that I'm asking you, sir, whether or not
Sounds
you met
like
her?
it to me.
Sir, you don't know where you met her the second time. That's what you're telling me, right?
I know approximately,
Approximately means you don't know, right?
if that makes you happy.
Nothing here is to make the prosecutor happy. You understand that? Why don't you want to answer my question?
I'm answering your question.
All right, the
I met
answer.
her either in Oklahoma or Dallas. Or Las Vegas. It was one of the two.
So
I don't
what-
remember precisely which one. It's 5 years ago.
5 years ago. And it could have been Dallas too? Is that what you're saying?
No.
And when you met her, what was the purpose of that meeting?
Well, when we go to the conventions, first off, there's the social.
No. In meeting her, what was the purpose in meeting her?
Check in with her, see how she was doing, what she was up to, how her, because we talk in between, remember. It's not like I don't talk to her for 5 months. We talk about once a week.
Sir, I'm asking about meetings. I'm not asking you about when you talked with her. We're talking about you meeting her at a conference, right?
Yeah, say
Okay,
hello.
so when she came to this conference and you met her, wherever it was, how much time did you talk to her?
Through the whole convention, probably a couple hours, maybe 2 or 3 hours.
And during
All
that
told?
time, you were one of the presenters, right?
Yes, occasionally.
Well, occasionally means what? That you did or you did not present? What is it?
I present at various times. It
I'm
depends
talking
on.
about the second time when you met her, sir. Did you present yes or no?
I didn't present in 2007 on the main stage. I presented at the breakout.
So you presented at the breakout. And during the breakout, was she in your breakout session?
No, she's in a different organization.
All right. And during that time that you were out there, how many days was this convention, wherever it was?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And how many times did you see her during that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Probably 3 or 4 times.
And people that go to these conventions, they're expected to dress in a professional manner, right?
Well, yes.
Yes, right? And she dressed as expected in a professional manner, right?
Yes.
And when was the other time that you met her? Now, we've talked about 2 times. What about the 3rd time?
Well, let's continue on with that time. I
Sir,
met her
I'm
several.
asking you when you met her the 3rd time. You don't get to ask the questions, I do. So when was the 3rd time you met her?
3rd time I met her would have been at a breakout session or at one of the other, or the parties that night.
So it's still the same conference then, right?
Right.
All right. When was the other time you saw her after that?
After that would have probably been one of the next conventions,
So,
which would therefore be Dallas Las Vegas or Oklahoma.
and so that's the total of the 4 or 5 times that you saw her, right?
That's correct.
And in addition to those 4 or 5 times, which appears that you saw her at 2 conventions or at 2 meetings, right?
Over
that
a
yes?
period of several days.
Well, there was this convention either in Las Vegas or Oklahoma, and you saw her 3 or 4 times there, correct?
Right?
And then you saw her one other time here in the valley, right?
Right. And I saw her at one of the other conventions.
What other convention was that?
Okay. We have 2 conventions a year, 6 months apart. One of them is in Oklahoma. The other one was in Las Vegas.
We've
I
heard
saw-
that. Where
I-
did you
both
see
of
her
them.
the 3rd convention, this other convention? Where did you see her?
It was the opposite of the other one, whatever it was.
So you don't know is what you're
I
telling
don't
me.
remember. It was 5 years ago.
Not remembering means you don't know. Wouldn't you agree?
I don't remember precisely, but it was one of the
Oh.
2.
And during this 3rd convention or seminar, whatever it was, again, this was a professional setting, right?
There's also parties afterwards where everyone gets dressed up pretty wild sometimes at the parties. They have after events that are spectacular, in fact, legendary.
So people go there to just blow off steam too, then,
In
right?
the evenings, yes. They have
And so-
big parties.
How many, in that time, this 3rd time, wherever it was, how many times did you see her?
Again, about the same time, 4 or 5 times over a period of 3 or 4 days.
And during that time, you were a presenter too, weren't you?
At that one, I believe I was, yes.
And during this time, you were busy preparing whatever you were going to say, right?
I already knew what I was going to say.
Well, when did you present? The 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, or the 4th day?
The second day,
And
after the day,
second-
Friday, the day after the executive director banquet.
Yes,
Apologize.
counsel. Mr. Cersei, the court reporter can only record one of you at a time, so please do not speak over each other.
Thank you.
Next
so
question.
you presented at this other event, right?
Yes,
And that's when you saw her again, correct?
yes.
And during this time, again, everyone during the day is expected to dress professionally, right?
Right?
And that's how she dressed, correct?
And in the evenings as well.
Sir, am I asking you about the evening? I'm not, am I?
Continue.
Sir, I asked you a question. Am I asking you about the evening?
No.
Now, after that, you said that you did see her on a personal level on 2 occasions, right?
Yes.
And one of them involved your mobile home, right?
Motorhome.
Motorhome, right?
Yep.
And she came by and she stayed 2 days and 1 night, right?
Correct.
Where was this mobile home, sir?
Las Vegas.
And the other time that you met her was involved a telephone or something like that?
I talked to her on the telephone on many occasions.
No. I'm talking about the second time that you saw her other than your...
Oh, in California.
And you saw her in California?
Yes.
What town?
I believe it was Pasadena.
And what date was that?
I don't remember. 5 years ago.
Was it in Pasadena? What were you doing in Pasadena when this happened?
I had arranged to meet her there because it was on the way for her where she was going
Well,
north.
I'm not asking you what she told you. I'm asking you what you were doing there.
I went there to meet her.
All right? And if you went there to meet her, tell me the name of the town that you met her.
I already did, Pasadena.
Okay? And what time of the day did you meet her?
It was probably late morning, early afternoon, somewhere
So-
around there.
Late morning to you would be 10, 11 o'clock. Is that what it would be?
Yeah,
And that's when you met her, right?
I'm not exactly sure. Somewhere around there. It would have been more than 10 and before 2. Because I
All
have
right.
kids to pick up from school and get to school, and it would have been in between that
So
time.
it's 10 and 2, right?
Somewhere in there.
And did you give her a telephone or not?
Yes,
And you gave her a telephone, and what was the reason you gave her a telephone?
because she needed one.
And what kind of telephone did you give her?
It's called a Helio.
All right, so you purchased the Helio telephone then, right?
They gave it to me.
Okay, you were able to get a hold of the Helio telephone, right?
That's correct.
And then you gave it to her in Pasadena between 10 and 2 during the day, right?
Correct.
And what day was it that this happened?
I don't know.
I don't have anything else, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I want to begin by clarifying some of the things that you were asked regarding the structure of prepaid legal and the state trying to impose the dynamic of a pyramid upon it.
Objection, argumentative as to what the state is attempting to do relevant.
Let me ask you this. Did you, in your mentoring role with Miss Arias to help her become more profitable, did you personally profit?
No, not a dime.
Okay. And could you explain to us how that works? I mean, is there different teams? How is the structure of the nation set up where somebody, obviously, as you've described before, is making money if Miss Arias sells a membership, but who would that person be to her? How does that link work?
Well, you kind of look at this as think of the prepaid legal shield like the NFL. And then within the NFL, you have the Miami Dolphins, the Pittsburgh Steelers, you have different teams. Jodi was part of Mr. Hughes' team, Chris Hughes' team. And I am part of a team called Team Pinnacle. So we're on different teams. But I help people regardless of what team they're on, so it doesn't matter to me.
Okay. So you weren't directly profiting off Miss Arias' sales, Mr. Hughes was?
Correct.
To your knowledge, okay. You were also asked about her income, how much money she was making, how successful she was. Did you have direct access to her W-2s or knew how much she was making?
No.
Okay. She was just asking for help to succeed more in this aspect of her life. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. You were asked about some of the various meetings you had with her, and there was some questioning about the second meeting you had with her that was either at a convention, it was either Las Vegas or Oklahoma City, correct?
Right.
Okay. And you were asked about her attire during
Right.
that meeting. And I believe that was about a 3 or 4 day meeting, as you described?
Right.
Okay. You were asked if people are expected to dress professional at the meeting. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you recall telling us that the expectation was that people were to dress professionally, right?
During the day.
Okay. Well, let me ask you, just as it relates to the day, before we move on to the evening, did everyone always adhere to that during the day?
No.
Okay. You also mentioned there was, I believe you said, after parties and parties in the evening where professional attire was not the norm, I guess, right? Is that, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I want to make sure.
Yes, absolutely.
It was more casual or nightclub type attire, correct?
Very nightclubish.
Okay. And was there alcohol at these parties?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever see, let me ask you this as it relates to Miss Arias, did you ever see her dressing inappropriately at any of these evening functions or after parties?
No, she was always dressed very conservative,
Okay.
even whether it was business attire or non-business attire.
Did you ever observe her during any of these after parties acting sexually inappropriate?
No.
Did you ever observe her drunk or out of control in any way?
No.
Did you ever observe her exhibit any anger or any violent demeanor at
No.
these after parties? Okay. You also mentioned, and I want to be clear as well, because we talked about several different meetings and a few different conventions. Has what you told me about the after parties and the after party at the second meeting of the convention, is that true of all the interactions you've had with Ms. Arias as it relates to these conventions and after parties?
Yes.
We also talked about, you also were asked about the time you spent with her in your motorhome.
Yes.
And this was not what we would necessarily call a professional setting. This wasn't a prepaid legal meeting or anything else.
No.
Right. Okay. Do you recall how she was dressed on those days?
Yeah, she wore like slacks and like a turtleneck long sleeves.
And that was both days she wore long sleeves?
Yes.
Okay. Was that, to your recollection, if you can speak to it, was that appropriate for the weather or did it seem inappropriate for the weather in terms of the temperature in Vegas?
It was appropriate for the weather at the time.
Okay. Moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Any questions from the jury for this witness? It looks like we do have one. Counsel, please approach. Mr. Cersei, a juror has some questions for you. To your knowledge, has Mr. Hughes ever helped any of the agents working under you?
No.
How many Diamond members, executive directors, directors, and lower members of your company are there? Total number for each group.
Ooh. I couldn't guess the total number for each group. I would know there are a little over 450,000 total associates. I know there are about 1,500 executive directors and above, and I know there are about 250 ring earners. As to the rest, I would not have any idea.
You follow up, Mr. Nurmi.
Thank you, Your Honor. You mentioned approximately 1,500 executive directors. To your knowledge, was Mr. Alexander one of those?
Yes, he was.
That's all, Your Honor. Thank you.
I have nothing, thank you.
Any other questions from the jury for this witness? Thank you. You may step down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take the noon recess at this time. Please be back in the designated area at 1:25, and we will start promptly at 1:30. Please be seated. The record will show the jury has left the courtroom. Counsel, anything else before we take the noon recess?
No.
No, Your Honor, we anticipate being ready to proceed at 1:30.
All right, thank you.
All right.
there, Doc. Just watch the yellow box there, because that door will open on you. I want you to get taken out by the door.
I just want to make sure he knows the shooter.
Yeah, so just watch these doors.
Yep.
Everybody, the doors will slam open, slam shut.
Yeah, we have plenty of that too on staff.
I know.
Yeah, these have no mercy. So, hi, Clark. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
Sure, no problem.
Emergency. I'm covered with it in every pocket for the 20 minutes.
We're gonna go out and to the right.
Hey, doctor. How are you? How's it going, Captain D? You gonna join us soon?
Yeah, you're hooked up, yeah.
I don't know what side you want me to be on.
Am I good to go?
Sergeant Pike.
Just want to make sure before I blurt it out.
Yep, I'll face this way so you can see it.
Okay, I'm ready.
And we're rolling.
We are here in Arizona in the Astoria jail. Hello, ladies. With me is Sergeant Pike, and she will be taking us through the jail. A lot of people have asked, why did I travel all the way to Arizona? Number one, I don't like seeing the reputation of Travis Alexander dragged through the mud. And number two, I'm very interested in Jodi Arias and how she makes people believe her. I want to find out where she is every day and what she does every day. And thankfully, Sergeant Pike is going to help us with that. So Sergeant Pike, where are we right now?
Right now, you're kind of in the main hallway of the Astoria jail. This is where you get to anywhere you need to go. Visitation is behind us. We're now entering Bravo Tower, and that's where Jodi Arias is being housed right now.
Well, one thing I can guarantee you, she ain't getting out, okay? I've already had to go through several layers of steel doors that close and open behind you.
Correct.
I mean, frankly, I don't know if I'm going to get out, but I know she's not going to get out. Now, where are we? What are we approaching right now? This looks like some kind of a guard.
Right, this is what we call a housing unit. This is a tower set up for us. So we have a tower in the middle that is, in this housing unit, since there's close custody, is manned by 3 officers. We do security walks every 25 minutes, and when they're in the housing units, they have to have 2 officers when they're with that custody level of an inmate. However, Jodi Arias is not a close custody. She is a max inmate, so you'll see 1 officer in there with her at the time.
Are all the corrections officers here female that deal with the female?
No, not necessarily. We do have male officers that work here. They are pretty much limited to towers. They can walk in the housing units. They're just not assigned to dormitories.
Now let me just digest that a moment. They're mostly limited to the towers.
There are mostly female staffed here. However, we do have a small section of males that work here. There are some places that they can work. They can work in a tower because they're not in their dormitory, which would be them disrobed at any one time. They might be disrobed in their cells. However, there's usually a door, and the officers are trained to just do the security walk and head on.
Do you mind if I just look around?
Nope. Actually, we have
So
this housing unit over here for you to go into.
Looks down into here.
Correct. We have cameras in here. They have video in here so they can look on cameras. We have computer systems in here, radios, stuff like that. Did you want to go in and take a look?
Can I?
Absolutely.
Great. I don't want to miss anything. Wait, hold on.
They can't open it,
That
unfortunately.
usually works. See? Hello. Hello.
All right.
Nice to see you, Nancy Grace.
How you doing? How's it going?
Good.
So this is a typical tower for Astoria jail. Some of the other towers in the other jails are a little bit smaller. So this is kind of the control tower. You see it's a touchscreen situation where they can open the doors to the different cells.
I'm not going to touch it.
Okay, that's good. We don't want to open all those close custody
No,
cells at once.
no.
So it's a touchscreen system. They can open the doors if they need an inmate out. There's an intercom system in
Repeat,
there.
I'm not going to touch it. But when you say touch, like she would.
You literally touch
she
the
wanted
screen.
to open number 9. She would touch 9.
Right. It's still working as a touch screen. I think there is a mouse in case it doesn't work any
Yeah.
longer. There's a mouse also. So.
Whoa! Don't like that. Panic button.
Yeah, it just does
What
that.
happens if you touch the panic button?
You know what? What does happen if you touch the panic button? Alarm goes off, probably. Alarm goes off. We have a very loud alarm system in here. You will basically go deaf hearing the alarm. It's right above your head, so it's quite the squeal. So
Now, what is this?
that is a psychological area where inmates are evaluated by psychological staff, And for their safety and security, that's a private room so they can have a medical consultation. However, that's what the panic system is for. They hit a button in there, and we go running to take care of whatever happens. Now, the inmates are secured to the table, as you can see.
Right.
However, things can happen. So
you look directly down into here.
yeah, I mean, inmates are housed on either tiers. So there are 2 inmates per cell. So we have a pretty good view. Of course, there's some places that we have better views than
How
others.
do you see around that microwave? We stand.
At lunchtime will be the only time we'll see around the microwave. Inmates are normally out and about in that pod. That's a general population pod, so they're usually out of their cells, so you can see them a little bit better.
Now, are all types of felons intermingled? Is there a high risk? Or
Well, that's what your closed custodies are for. Closed custodies here are going to be in 300 and 400 pod, and they are 23 out of 24 hours a day locked down. So those are going to be your guys that have institutional history of assaults. They have higher level. They've been institutionalized. They've been here a lot. They've got some issues. They may be psychologically, seriously mentally ill. There's all different ideas. They've assaulted somebody. In the case of Elizabeth Johnson, got into an assault and ended up in close custody. So there's all different reasons why you can end up close custody. You can start out as a minimum inmate, and if you're here for a little bit, you could actually make your way all the way to close custody depending on your actions.
work your way up.
Absolutely.
So
Climb the
right in
ladder
there.
of criminal history there.
Okay. Wow. Now, is this glass bulletproof?
It is. It is. It's pretty old. I'd be interested to know if it would stop a bullet, but it is. All our glass out front, everything in here is, except for the windows inside the pod.
Got it. Got it. So that's a pod. How many people in a pod?
There are 15 cells, 2 to a cell, excuse me. So 30 inmates. Even though in these you'll see the old-fashioned 3 bunks in some of those, we don't use the top bunk. So
Why?
safety and security. We have ladders and stuff, but we found that we don't want any injuries, any problems. So, and population-wise, we haven't needed it. In the past, we've had higher populations, so now that we don't need it so much, we don't need to use it.
Nice touch.
Can arrange for you to have a set if you might have to wear them out.
You don't
though.
think I already have a set?
I don't. I'm not going to ask. If you want to step into 100 pod, you can
Yeah, I do.
go on in.
Is this Aries' pod?
I'm sorry?
Is this Aries' pod?
No.
Okay.
No. This is basically her pod, just in a different area. This is exactly what you would see in her cell. And 105 we have set up over here, so you can... So, yeah, you interrupted a card game because you're here, so they had to go to their cells. So, this actually is set up for an ADA pod. You'll see that there's, so if somebody was in a wheelchair, or somebody was, disability or anything, we can push that in.
Yeah.
They can go under the sink. There's railings. So this is kind of set up for more than one thing. So if you come in, you want to stay, you're going to stay some time with us. You're going to end up with your gown
Okay,
and your
so
towel.
this is one person would stay in here.
2 actually could stay in here.
They could, but you don't use the top bunks anymore.
Third bunk we don't.
Ah.
Some of them upstairs are third bunks in some other pods.
Okay, let's check it out. I'm going to tell you the truth. Oh. It feels pretty good, actually. I don't know what anybody's complaining about.
We'll check on you at about 6 a.m. See how your back's feeling.
Now, someone has written today is the first day of the rest of your life.
I guess it could be.
Yes, it could be.
Rest of your life in jail.
The rest of your life in jail. Okay, it's not that bad. Not bad at all. Oh, okay.
Put your head there.
That counts as a sit-up.
So some things you can buy on Canteen, shampoo, some things we give them, toothbrush, comb, soap, rule book, of course, inmate rules. They can get reading material on our library.
I doubt pretty seriously you're spending a lot of time reading the inmate.
Do you notice how crisp and clean that is and how
I know,
bent this one
yeah.
is?
Yeah, this has not been perused.
Yeah, probably not.
Crispy and clean, you're right. Okay, how often do they get to use the phone?
For these guys, they're out 16 hours a day.
Ah,
So minus head counts or any emergencies, they have access to it about 16 hours a day. We do. They don't, unfortunately. They get very limited channels. Nothing local. It's mostly Weather Channel, Food Channel, Sheriff Joe Channel, Food Network. Yeah.
What's the Sheriff Joe channel?
We have a Sheriff Joe channel that kind of he can access and put tapes on. We can run a tape like for Christmas. For a while, he was reading to the inmates at night. We put on a tape, and he would read stories to the inmates at night.
Such as?
Yeah, I don't know the books, but he would read, and it would be over the TV. He'd be sitting in front of a fireplace and reading. Christmas music we play off the TVs during the Christmas holiday.
Nice.
Well, for Hanukkah and Ramadan and all the holidays. Caught head count.
I can speak to
You
them?
can speak to some, right? What did you say?
Everybody's had waivers, so as far as I know,
Some?
All right. Anybody want to talk?
Captain, they're all good to talk, right? They all signed waivers, right?
Yes. But you would talk to them, or yeah, so we'll stay out here.
Okay.
You do? Can they talk? Can they talk upstairs?
Yeah, you can go upstairs.
What's that? You talking to me just now? Yeah. Oh, great, okay. Okay, sorry, that was my comment. You guys want your shot? Who's this?
This is
that yours?
no, this one's mine. Hello.
Hey, you know Arias?
Arias, which one is she?
Jodi Arias?
Yes, well, I don't know her personally, but I was on the bus with her going to court one day. And she's really content. She's a real nice girl, you know, but she's real quiet. She doesn't really talk much. She just pretty much kind of stays to herself, and she's a really pretty girl. And it seems like a lot of the other inmates in here seem to kind of like, well, one of the other girls really idolizes her in a weird kind of way, and I was like, kind of thought that was strange. But other than that, she's real quiet. She sat alone. She was real nice with some of the other girls that were were going to court as well. She loaned them some hair bands for their hair and stuff like that. So, I don't, all I can say is she's real quiet. She's a really pretty girl.
Very quiet and pretty, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, you know Arias? Yes. How do you know her?
She's real nice in medical, because I go to medical quite a bit, and I'm there when they take her.
Yeah?
And she's really nice. She said that she did it to defend herself.
She did it to defend herself.
Yeah, that was her reason, that he was going to kill her. And so she killed him first.
Have you
And
been
when she-
following any of the coverage?
A little bit. I have my husband let me know, because I love In Session and your channel.
Thank you. I'm just
You're
trying to
very
figure out
welcome.
how it can be self-defense since they were taking sex photos, and then within like 30 seconds she was stabbing him.
She said that
I
she
don't
was-
even want to wonder where she had the knife concealed.
Exactly. All I know is that she told me that she did it because she was afraid for her own life and he was going to murder her. And in order to not get caught, she did chop him up into pieces. And that's why she put parts of his body throughout the county.
She did what? She told you what?
She put parts of his body throughout the county.
She told you that. When?
Yes.
In medical?
In medical.
Okay.
Because she's just across over there.
Okay, good to know. Do you have children?
No, I do not.
But your husband's on the outside.
Yes, yes.
When you get out?
I get home in July, excuse me.
Thanks for talking.
Absolutely. Nice to have met you.
Bye. Likewise. Okay. I hope that's the only person that Jodi Arias has killed. She apparently told that, and she chopped up her victim and put parts of his body throughout the county. Ready? Sure. I want to taste Arpaio's menu. When did you get into law enforcement?
I started here in 2001. Actually, my sister works there too.
You
So it's
remind
kind of
me so much. One of my best friends in Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
She was on the SWAT team there, a special drug team called
Oh.
Red Dogs, for street drugs. specifically.
Street interdiction, yeah.
And now
It takes a lot of guts.
Now she's captain.
Yeah?
That was a long time ago. Just like,
We're gonna actually go this way right here.
sure.
Oh, sure.
Wow, neat as a pin.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, that kind of scared me. She said Arias told her she chopped his body up and hid it all over the county. That's very hard to evaluate who's telling you the truth.
Yeah.
Especially
We kinda
when
joke.
there's something to gain in it.
Yeah,
This place is as neat as a pin.
it's a female housing unit, so we actually get lucky because the females usually keep it pretty clean.
Do they have to clean it themselves?
Yeah, we have trustees that work in the kitchen, work in the hallways. The inmates, of course, that are unsentenced are not authorized out here, but we're out at tents where you're going to be later. All the trustees live out there, and they have their jobs inside here. So, of course, we have male trustees, females, but the females come in here and serve food, clean up the housing units, mop the floors, stuff like that.
Male trustees come in here?
No, males are at the male facilities, females at females. Yeah. Back when I first started, this did have males
That's a
and
fee for
females.
trouble.
We had a hallway of males and a hallway of females, and we were kind of like traffic police. We had to stop the boys, get the girls to go, stop. We're going to go right in here. This is the kitchen. I don't have a radio. Captain, you have a radio to... I didn't grab one. Oh, there you go. They got it. Fresh citrus came in. We get a lot of oranges, a lot of grapefruits. Looks good, huh? Right off the tree.
Yes.
Fresh off the tree.
A lot of them, too.
Yep, we serve a lot of oranges. Well, as you can tell, it's kind of quiet right now. It's before we get ready to serve dinner, so everything's cleaned up, ready to go for the crew to come in tonight and start serving chow. But we have a special delivery for you.
Oh, thank you.
So this is our brunch sack, or as the inmates call it, a ladmo.
Oh, wow.
A ladmo. And I am not from Arizona, but how I understand it is Wallace and Ladmo were kind of a children's show, and they would give away brown paper bags with candy and gifts in it, so they call them Ladmo bags. So the inmates lovingly call this a Ladmo bag now. So they get one of those 2 meals a day here. The first one will be a cold sack. So this one has peanut butter, bread, citrus, and a snack.
It's good stuff.
You have some fortified peanut butter to go with it. Make a nice sandwich.
Whoa, cow trivia jokes.
Hey, we educate too. All right, so
Hey,
the
whoa, whoa,
all right.
whoa, whoa. Check it out here.
And all you get is a spoon, so you have to manipulate the peanut butter with a spoon. Fresh baked bread every day.
Really? Here?
Yep. Not in this Estrella, but we have a whole kitchen.
Fresh.
Baked every day. Good stuff. There you go.
Okay.
We package our own peanut butter. We buy it in 5-gallon white buckets, and we have a machine that'll measure it so they get the right amount and package it. It was hermetically sealed, I'm sure. It's not bad, huh?
Not bad.
How about 5 days a week?
Not as good.
Okay. That does kind of change things. Very much. Best part of the day, the snack.
It's the ultimate test.
That's it.
Are you ready?
Peeling the grapefruit, I think, would be the ultimate citrus test for Arizona. You know?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Freshness test. Is it snappy? Ginger snappy?
This is good stuff.
No complaints, right?
Are you sure this is real?
It's for real. That's what we
I
serve.
better taste this peanut butter one more time just to make sure.
Absolutely. Quality control.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Our player's not doing a bad job, people.
Nutritious and delicious.
Who does Jodi eat with?
Oh, she has freedom to eat with anybody in her pod.
I mean, but how do you pick who goes in her pot?
It's just done by, we have a classification system, like you know, so classification of the inmate. If there's anybody that has maybe there was a fight between her and somebody else, we'll have what we call a keep away, and we'll restrict that person. Yeah. So when I go to put somebody in that housing unit, and I type the inmate's booking number in to put them in, if there's a problem with that inmate being in there, it'll give me a warning. It'll tell me you can't put them in there.
Now, you told me that she's in maximum.
She's a maximum security inmate.
Okay, what is that?
What's the custody level? Custody levels are determined by classification. Their bond amount affects things, their charges affect things, possibly past escapes or institutional history. So there's all kinds of things that go into classification of an inmate. And she's a maximum inmate, probably, and I can't tell you exactly why, but probably mostly because of her charges and the bond amount.
Now, outside the walls of the structure,
Okay?
what do you have to keep people from escaping? Are there fences, barbed wire? What?
Yeah, all of the above. We have a fencing system. As you notice, there was nothing really outside. There's no trees. There's no shrubs to hide behind. There's a blank area. There's bright lights. If you come here at 10 o'clock at night, it'll be like you're at a movie theater. It's so bright. I mean, well, probably not a movie theater. That's kind of dark. But it's real bright. Spotlights. Also, and our officers. I mean, our officers walk every 25 minutes in a circle and check everybody there. So that's the first line of our defense is the officer making sure that everybody that's supposed to be there is there. You've got to get down this long, narrow hallway. You've got to get through those big steel doors that you got through. And there's another door behind that one. You got to wait for that one to close. So there's a lot of different safety levels that you have to go through.
Where do they meet with their lawyers?
We have a legal visitation area. There are 4 legal cells back there. It's divided somewhat with like a mesh screen, but there's a document pass through so they can have contact with their attorney for paperwork to sign or things to look at, what have you. Or if their custody level is lower, they can have face-to-face visitation.
That mesh push through, how thick?
It's probably about an inch and a half, maybe an inch and a half. Just enough to get some. A lot of times, if it's the discovery is very thick, very big, they'll have to piece it through there a little bit at a time.
How do they get a hold of, for instance, makeup and hair dye and all that?
Hair dye, they can't get through us, but we do have a canteen system where they can purchase. You saw the shampoo in there, in that cell. That's something they can purchase on Canteen. We have a list of deodorants, special shampoos if they want to pay for it. If they have money on their books, they can purchase it. There's a limit to cosmetics, obviously. No nail polish or remover or anything.
Do they get this every single day? The same thing for lunch?
5 days a week is peanut butter.
What about the other 2?
It's kind of what we have on hand, what we purchase. We have the institutional services section, the food service section, has buyers over there that buy what we can at the best prices, keep the cost low. Bologna, comes in.
Has anybody ever escaped from this jail?
Yeah. We've had escapes. We've had attempted escapes. We've gotten them back. But yeah, we've had escape attempts. We always say attempts because we always get them back.
Do you? Yeah. I mean, do they actually leave the grounds?
The last one jumped off the roof and broke both ankles, feet, and back. So she didn't get very far.
How'd she get up on the roof?
She climbed the rec yard fence. That's what it was. Climbed the rec yard fence and went through a bunch of other fencing, got up on the roof, and then went to the corner of the building and jumped off. Didn't go through. Wow, about maybe a year ago, something like that. We've had a few attempts since.
Broken legs and a broken back.
Yeah, she was in a bad way. You want to see the coup de resistance? This is dinner. You're gonna miss dinner?
No way.
All right, here you go. That's dinner, and of course, citrus has to go with dinner, and your milk.
Okay, what is that?
I'm not certain, but it is a casserole type. Oh, with your peanut butter on there? All right. It's probably beans. Carrots, celery, green beans.
Yep.
Broccoli. Fresh potatoes. Truckloads of potatoes come in and out of here.
Oh, some kind of a stew with veggies in it.
Might be chicken. Might be. It's not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Could use a little bit of salt. Don't tell the chef.
We sell salt and pepper. They can buy that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they can buy that. They can buy a condiment pack to go with their food if they like. So basically what they do is they're going to, when they come in here to work, they're going to take the food that's in these containers here and they're going to put it on those trays and serve it out.
Where do they eat?
The inmates that are working?
No.
Oh.
The regular, areas.
She has the tables that were just where the cards were.
That's
they eat right there.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
They can eat at their desk if they like in their room. They're not restricted. However, the close custodies are in their cell for food. They're only out one at a time, 1 hour a day each, if they're not on restriction.
What do they normally do during that time?
The close custodies, a lot of them
They
sleep a lot.
exercise?
They can exercise. We actually have exercises listed in the back of our rule book that they can do. Sit-ups, push-ups, stuff like that. They read a lot.
That 1 hour that they get out of their room, what do they do?
When they get out for their hour, they should shower, would be nice, clean up their cell, take trash out, make legal calls, make personal calls if they can, if they're not restricted from that. They can do that. Put in tank orders.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Hey, ladies.
Kitchen's yours, ladies.
Thank you, Mom.
Thank you.
Outside to the left now.
Outside too. Sorry?
Connie, where did you say outside where?
Yeah, can we go to the rec yard, where the rec yard is? Is that
Rec yard?
We're done.
I'm sorry?
Okay, to go to rec yard, Kevin?
And then we're done, Nancy, after that? 'Cause we got to
Sure.
address it.
I need
Sorry. What's up?
Or get Drew's number when we're calling. You're done, or?
I guess we're going to a rec yard.
Okay.
When you want me gone, I'm gone.
Does anybody hit the button up there?
Say it again? Sheriff's already there. Oh, yeah. Don't want to keep him waiting.
All right.
He's not on.
You're official
Oh, okay.
now.
Okay, now will it open on its own?
Yeah. Watch.
There you go.
I didn't know if they were going to shut that one or not.
Sergeant, we're gonna do the rec.
Does it matter which one? You don't.
The small one that we passed.
Just a general one.
Okay.
Whatever,
Yeah.
You know, whatever is
We'll have to
easy
get the
for you.
keys. Anybody have keys to it?
I just wanted to get a little to go,
Of which one?
everything.
Everything? All right, we can do that. Have it delivered. Room service in your hotel isn't up to snuff. You want to get some of Sheriff Joe's to go?
Jail food. Now, so I see you got security cameras.
We have cameras everywhere. To the best of our ability, we've cameraed pretty much every square inch of this place. Some of these cablings are for new camera systems. Some of the cabling is for, we have a video visitation system in the back for public defenders and stuff, so they don't have to come down here and see their clients as
Now,
much.
all of their visitations and phone calls are recorded, correct?
Visitation, not so much, because there's legal visitation that goes on there. There are
Right,
phone calls.
Not the lawyer visitation.
Right. In the main room, it's video recorded, correct.
Good.
I don't have a radio boss, so I can't call for keys. Can they pop it from here? You used to be able to, but I don't. We just have to open them. None of us thought ahead to get radios or keys, so. So this rec yard actually is utilized for close custodies because you can see it's fenced off. There's a sally port between it. So one on each side because they can't be out with anybody else. They can't have interaction with anybody else. The officers to minimum. We make them lock down when we go into their housing unit to walk.
So how many of them go out at a time?
Close custody is one. We can put one on each side. They can talk through the fence, as you can see, but that's as close as they can get.
Really?
And you'll see a yellow line when you were in the housing unit. There's a yellow line that runs in front of the cells. They can't talk up close to the cell door. They have to be behind that yellow line when they talk to him. We don't want them passing things.
What do you do when an inmate comes in pregnant?
Um,
Special medical wing?
yeah,
Delivered here? to
no.
go to the hospital?
No, well, to deliver, yes, the hospital. They'll go to county medical, Maricopa County. Thank you, sir. Normally they're in a dormitory. They're on a lower bunk. We have maternity med call on Wednesdays. So they're seen. They're given prenatal vitamins, extra milk with their diet. Their lunch sacks are slightly different. They don't get like the lunch meat, the nitrates and stuff. Lunch meat has been proven bad for pregnant women, so they mostly get a little bit different diet.
So this is where Arias goes to rec?
It can be. We have 4 of these rec yards. It just depends on what availability of the day, the weather, how many are going out.
One inmate at a time on each side?
Now that's for close custody. She's a max, so as long as she's in good standing and is not on restriction or anything, she can go out with her pod mates, whoever.
Okay.
So what we do is we just go into the pod, holler rec, who wants to go, they get ready, be dressed with their IDs, and then we take them out for 1 hour.
What do they do out there?
Mostly in the winter or even in the summer when it's not too hot, they sunbathe. So we have to try to keep their clothes on them. They try to roll up their pants or their shirts or whatever to get color. Some of them will do exercises. They'll have a little walking thing they do, or some of them will do sit-ups or stretching. A lot of times they'll just lay out here on the pavement. Just depends. Oh, well, don't trust me that's the first one the first time. So. guys? All right, I believe you. Good thing there's not an emergency. Come on here. Who's a professional?
Yeah.
Get over here.
Look at this thing. They're not going to make this.
That Folger Adams key. You got more training than I do. Get in there.
Thank you.
Okay, it's not just me. Vindicated. All right.
You get you the right one. This one.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, there's two sets. There's 2 sets of rec yards with 2 sets of keys, so rec's done for the day. So all the people that are in. No, you're not getting out by accident, I guess, unless you shimmy up the top and go out the side with the
Nobody's
pigeons.
escaping out of here today.
No, this is as secure as it's ever going to get.
So it's not covered at the top.
It is covered
yeah,
at
it
the
is
top,
covered
yeah.
at the top. I
Yeah,
see that
there's
now.
a mesh net that comes down off to the side. With that escape, we were having some work done, and it kind of, I think, got loose on the side there, and she was able to get up the side, is how I understand it.
I'm surprised she hadn't turned around and saved you. Or breaking her legs. It's gonna happen.
Well, lawsuits are nothing new for us, you know, either fortunately or unfortunately.
We can't get it. Why don't we just keep what we have? You want to do that?
Okay, if they can get the key, I'll here she comes.
There's only 2 sets, so it's one or the other. It's a process of elimination.
Do you want to keep what we have so far and another tape?
Fingernail polish.
Keep what we have so far and then we use another one for this? Or no?
It's gonna take me 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm up for promotion associated with, you're in charge, professional. Did you bring them both, just in case? If not, we're gonna have to find an FMO. See, we're not used to rain here. Everything swells up.
I can't believe it, but when I come, everything.
There you go. Oh, I thought you had it. Did it move? Give me that bugger.
Maybe I'm not meant to go out there.
Oh, I thought it did. Yeah, the key is not engaging.
I'll say something different.
There's another one on the way. Let's just go down. I don't know what the deal is, boss, but I can't see that. These are both the sets, right? Let me just hang on to them for a second. Oh, that was slightly embarrassing. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Excuse me. I'm used to going through the door first, so sorry, I apologize. Next one is where right by these benches are, where these other windows are. The door is right between those.
When you were growing up and wanted to go and all that, what did you think? Did you always want to work in law enforcement?
No, I wanted a career in the military. But I was a little too, I want to say, too early for my type. There was no combat positions, there was no training, there was nothing for a woman in the 80s. So they told me I was going to be a secretary, and I wasn't real happy with that. Guys, I don't know what to tell you here. We're striking out.
Maybe I'm not meant to be out there.
There's got to be.
I have one last college try. Okay, I'll
This-
just stand up here at the door. Ready?
Ha! Woo! I see what we're going to. Right, can't get in or out.
For various defense theories, here you have it. This is where the magic happens for Jodi Arias. Did it. Thank you. Oh. Thank you, Tyler.
You want to play some ball or anything, Nancy?
Yeah, I'll put the escort. I'll put the escort for you. Thank you.
Anything else starting to fight? I'll get the emergency set and just carry it. That's like a 50-pound bowling ball. No, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.